is Blockbuster, and you are all anybody's talking about. Welcome to the show, Flames GM Craig Conroy. Hi, Craig.
Hi guys, thanks for having me.
So, how are you feeling? A couple days removed. Any seller's remorse? Are you sleeping well at night? That's obviously the biggest trade you've ever made in the National Hockey League.
Yeah, no, it was. I knew where everything stood with Lindy probably early on in contract negotiations in September, going into October, and then so I knew at some point this was going to happen. So I knew it was. I just tried to get the best deal I could, and when. That was the question for me. Was it the deadline, right at the deadline? I had, I guess as a GM, my first being the GM this year, it's a little nerve-wracking game in and game out with injuries, and you don't know what's going to happen. So to kind of be able to do it now, he's healthy, everything's good. And, it's a little tough that it's Vancouver. But again, I always said I'm just going to try to make the best deal possible. So and Vancouver was the best deal.
Was it tough because you knew basically from the start of the season that this is probably the end result, that he's going to be gone? You have to fight the emotions. You can't let it be a personal thing. I know that you love Lindholm. This was a hard deal for you to do on a personal level, but it becomes, you have to take that emotion out of it.
Yeah, Bob Hartley used to say, Craig, you fall in love with your players, which I do. And Lindholm, he might have been my favorite player. So. Yeah. It was one where I appreciate everything he does, being a center, the face-offs, the penalty kill, all that. But again, I knew it was weighing on Lindy too. I mean, it's not the year that he's wanted to have. But again, I had a price that I could go to on a contract that I thought was fair. And he had a price in his mind. So, that's the business. It's the way we go about it. And, even though you want the player, I just can't do – there is a salary cap. I have to do what's best for the team, and I thought this was the best thing for the team.
You would mention, I know that, and people have been talking. There's other teams, and I know you're not going to necessarily get into it, but it feels like from a distance, this had to be far and away the biggest package. Maybe there's other players, but was it very hard getting down to the point where you knew it was going to be Vancouver?
I think. I kind of looked at other trades last year, even over the summer, and just, the Bo Horvat, kind of Ryan O'Reilly, things that kind of went out, especially being your first time. I put actually Chris Snow had a list of what the return should look like. When we thought it could be we want a first round pick. We wanted a prospect, and a player was kind of what we thought. So, to be able to get a couple picks, couple prospects, and a player that, we think he scored 39 goals. I know it hasn't worked out there. Different coach. Those things, Rhett, those things happen. Some coaches like you. Some coaches, it's not quite the same fit. So, one of the things is we got to get him in here, kind of like Sharon Govich, and give him a great opportunity. The one thing, our power play has not been very good, and he's a right shot power play guy. So we got to put him into a position. Savvy was just up here. We were just talking a minute ago. We got to get him in a position where he feels comfortable. And the one thing it was funny because he doesn't speak English a lot better than I speak Russian, so I'll never say so. It was a little bit, but I think he likes the power play and he likes to score, so, I think that was a selling point for him when we spoke to him. He liked what he heard from Ryan, and, he just wants to play. That's the one thing. He says he's a hockey player, and he's excited to come to Calgary, and he wants to be a part of this. So, he didn't have to waive. So for him to waive was another win for us.
Connie, it seems like since your pal Jerome left, there's been this continual, everlasting need for a right shot winger. There've been so few. Now, he's played the left. He's listed in your press release as the left side guy with the right shot. How do you see him fitting in this lineup, and what do you do at center ice now where you're missing some big minutes from Lindholm? This is maybe a Huska question, but how do you sort of look at this?
I wanted to go down and see Husk today because that is a hit. Let's be honest. He's a 20-minute center that plays in every position. So, I'm going to expect a lot from Backlund, Kadri. A guy like Cole Schwint, who didn't get to play much when he was up, is going to get an opportunity. Some other people are going to get opportunity here, depending upon, I'm going to go see Ryan and kind of see who we're going to call back up after the break. And, and get moving forward. But it's an opportunity. We've always said we want to give young guys an opportunity. Now, here's your chance. It's those are big shoes to fill, though. But I think it's going to be Kadri and Backlund mostly to fill most of it, and then the other guys are going to have to fill in, after that.
Would you be okay trying a center out at center ice in Connor Zari, who's had such a phenomenal campaign, or is that almost cruel to a guy halfway through his first year to move him to the middle?
It's funny, Pospisil and Zari both believe they're centers here moving forward. They want to be centers. But, again, young guys that have to work, I guess we could try it. I guess it depends when. Like right now, I don't see it happening tomorrow. But at some point, we might as well take a peek at it. But that's going to be up to Ryan. I'm giving him the players. I didn't give him the perfect puzzle pieces, but there's always things, there's – for me, you have the draft capital, you're looking around, but again, if I can find a deal that gives me a, 24 or younger center that we feel has some upside and growth, maybe there's that's something we would look at moving forward.
So now you move on to other pieces of business. Chris Tanev's not an all-star, but is he going back to Calgary after the all-star break, or is he like Lindholm? He's going somewhere else. It's a good time to get some business done, right? Everybody's all in their vacation spot. I'll just fly to the next spot. How's the Tanev thing going?
Already packed a bag.
Yeah.
That's what I said. Every guy's different. I think with Lindholm, I knew he wasn't coming back, so that was, I knew that was one I was going to have to move forward with. And, I respect Lindy the way he handled himself the whole year here and, carried himself. But, each one's different. I think for me, both guys will be going, if you're going to want to talk about Hanifin and Tanev, they're both going to be in Boston with us and in the lineup.
You've got two of D that are expiring there. That's could be a significant portion of the D market. Do you feel like there's a great onus to make sure you set the D market at a good spot if you're to make a trade, or is every deal just go do what I can do for the Flames?
Well, again, you're always trying to do the best deal you can for the team. So, obviously very good players, just like Lindholm. There was lots of interest in Lindholm. I mean, that was the one thing. I know everybody wants to know an exact number, but there was a lot of teams. So it's a lot of work when you're going back and forth trying to figure out, you got everything written on the board. You're bringing everybody in. What's the best deal for us? And, I think that's where you kind of was looking for three pieces. And then, to be able to get five. And again, right now, the top guy in the trade was Lindholm. He went to Vancouver. We haven't made the picks yet. We don't know who those players are. We know the two prospects and we know the player coming back. So, time will tell. Everybody wants a winner or loser out there. But, I think it's just like with the Sharon Govich trade. Maybe everybody thought we lost early, but now it feels like a fair deal. They got a good player. We got a good player. Ours is a little bit younger. We have him under contract for one more year. And that's kind of the way I'm trying to, we want to do this thing on the fly. This is one of the pieces. So those are two great players, and I think there'll be tons of interest, but you're also working with the player and you want to see where they're at and what they want to do moving forward.
You had Zari come in, and obviously he performed really well. You have Pospisil come in. He plays well. You've seen some other guys come in and out of the lineup, and you've seen some glimpses. I expect that it'll be the same when Pelche gets back. You saw him last year. Did their ascension to the NHL and they're fitting right in, showing that they can play, did it make it easier to make a deal like this? You still probably have to do it anyway, but I just wonder if Zari comes in and you don't see that flash, and if Pospisil plays a game or two and then he goes back down, you don't have as much maybe faith in the youth movement that you do. How much harder is this deal to make, knowing that you're deleting and you're not sure what you have in the cupboard?
Absolutely, for sure. I mean, let's be honest. When we brought Zari and Pospisil, they really turned things around for us here, which was nice. I think it got that Kadri line going. Backlund's line was going good. Lindy's line was in and out at times, but they'd have games. But we started to turn things around, and it looked, for a while there, I think we were 2-8 or 2-9. It wasn't great, but to bring those guys up, and all of a sudden see that spark. But I thought it brought a lot of life to the locker room too, just to have those young guys and to have Matt Coronado come up and, to have, we've seen lots of players now. And that's one thing I always wanted to do is say, well, all the years I've been here, can we call guys up and see what they are? I think we hadn't done it. So that was kind of in my mind. I wanted to do this moving forward, and we're getting to see, can they play or can't they play? I mean, unless we saw those two guys come up, your guess would be as good as mine. They're good American League players, but can they do it in the NHL? And they've proven they belong here.
Tell us about Brustevich a little bit. I know you've been asked a lot about him in the last couple of days, and you look at the numbers and they're gaudy. It's impressive to just look at the numbers. We talked about it, I guess, on the show yesterday. There was a shoulder injury, and then he comes back, and he's got to get back to a level that he was used to playing at. It seems like he's a very dynamic player. Is he a project? Is he a dynamo? How would you kind of describe? Because I know you would have seen him plenty last year when you were out scouting in that.
Well, yeah. I mean, last year when we watched him, you'd see the vision, the playmaking. That's all there. He defends. He wouldn't defend like Rhett. Like, he defends more with his head and his stick, and he tries to close the gaps and stay close to guys. He's not Chris Tanev either. He's not going to be blocking every shot, but he's got a great first pass. He sees the whole ice well. He's got skill set on the power play as a right shot guy that we didn't have in the organization. So, you're trying to add those pieces in the organization. So, I think if we were critiquing what he'd like to work on, we want him to be, skating is always a thing, but, sometimes those smarter players, they just get there with their brain. But definitely skating is something we're going to work on. But the one nice thing is Hendricks worked with Kitchener. He's in the gym. He's putting the time in. He wants to get better. And we believe skating is one thing we can help if the player wants to put the work in. It's not easy to get better skating because it's not fun to do. But not that he's a bad skater, but if he could improve that, transporting the puck, it would even take another little piece and add to his game, which, he's got a lot of things that we really like. And I mean, obviously the numbers are really, really impressive, but we've seen good junior players and we just really like the players. So we're excited to have him, and it's something we didn't have in the organization.
You see that sometimes, right? When it's a junior player who can get by because of either their skill or their smarts or whatever. They don't need to work on the other little things in their game. And then you get to the next level and I guess I'm going to have to put some work in there. And probably for a guy like that, like you say, his brain has allowed him to get himself out of jams. I don't need to skate myself out of trouble because I can make a play here. You mentioned he's not like Rhett. How would you describe Rhett if you were to, what kind of a defender?
Hard-nosed, physical defender, willing to lay his body on the line at all times.
Yeah.
And could chip in a couple top shelf goals. I saw him live. He scored a few goals, but that wasn't what made Rhett effective. Penalty kill, hard to play against, great teammate, stick up for his teammates. I don't think there's not fighting now, but Rhett didn't fight a lot, but you knew Rhett always had your back. But I don't think, not that I'm saying Hunter doesn't, but Rhett was, hard-nosed, physical.
There was a point in one season where I had more goals than Jerome McGinley, and I let him know about it. So,
Game one?
I remember.
What's going on?
Can you do what you did on the flight and your top shelf?
I can't.
You can roll right there. He was rolling down the center of the plane, and then he'd jump up, and you could show him your top shelf celebration.
Yeah, we got video now. We're on YouTube. We can show everybody after all the years of just telling them these stories.
Viral.
Could absolutely do that.
Not as limber as I used to be.
Yeah. I remember talking. We were talking, Craig, when you first got the job, and one of the things you were talking about was there's positional need, obviously defense and whatnot, but it was just an overriding need for more skill in the cupboard, and it seems like you're addressing that. Kuzmenko, Brustevich, we've seen Coronado come in. Zari, I think we kind of even forgot about him. There's skill there. We're seeing more out of Pospisil, it feels like, and then you throw Moran and Poirier, some other guys in, and Honzik, I know you're real high on, and others, but it does feel like in a short amount of time, that's turned a little bit. Do you feel like, not that you're satisfied, but are you happy with the level of skill that you have on board now?
Well, you just watch the games. I mean, it's so hard to score, but if you don't have that high end skill, it's hard to win. I mean, because it isn't the hooking and clutching and grabbing. It's more freewheeling, making plays, and you see those high end players what they do. And I think if you can continue to add those, and you still need, we're always talking about the culture in the room and what we want a Calgary Flame to be. And it starts with Backlund. He's been doing a great job. And Coleman's in there. And you just have the whole group with Huberdeau, Kadri, Weegar, Hannafin. You look at the guys, we want to bring in players and, again, want to be a Calgary Flame and want to be a part of this. But we want to bring in guys that are going to buy in. Everyone talks about Boston. They buy in. That's what we're trying to create here. And if you don't fit into that, we're going to, try to move them along and bring in people that do fit that culture.
I think about your start 2-7-1. You have the not my favorite costumes the fellas picked there for the outdoor game against Edmonton. You lose the Battle of Alberta outside, huge crowd, national TV game. Where were the conversations with you and Ryan Huska? Because that is not how he would have whiteboarded the first 10 games. And what do you think of the work he's done since then in his first year as a head coach?
Yeah, I felt for Ryan. I mean, we were down there. He wears losses a lot harder than people think, and I just said, hey, it's going to take a little time here. We knew where we were last year. We're in this together for the long haul. That's the one thing. I think to have a successful coach, the players need to know the coach has the backing of the GM and he's going to be here long term. Because if they think the coach isn't going to be here, it just doesn't work down there. So the coach has to have the power, and he needs to know it, and people need to know I have his back. So he obviously was hoping and wanted to have that quick start, that bump that usually a new coach gets, and we didn't get it. But I said, he had the right idea, how we want to play, what we want to do. And I think since then, it's been getting better. The players are buying in, the way our systems are, defensive zone. There's still mistakes. You'd like to tighten it up. Oh, two guys went to the wrong guy at the same time. But it takes a little time. So I do think Ryan's working hard. He's got a plan. We're trying to, he's willing to play the young guys, which is nice. I mean, he's willing to give everybody opportunity. And I think, I think with Sharon Govich, I was able to go down and talk. I said, this is kind of, we had him on the fourth line center. That's really not where he fit, but he was open to it. He said, you're right. Let's try to give him a chance, put him with some different players, put him on the right side. And then it just, I give Sharon Govich a ton of credit. It's taken off. He's done a great job. So, I think Ryan's open to try to figure out who fits where and how to get the most out of guys. And I like that, but it's open. I think he's good with the staff. He's great to work with for me. And we're not where we want to be. That's the thing. We want to be a team that competes consistently for the playoffs and eventually tries to win a Stanley Cup. That's the main goal for us. And, it's everybody wants it today. It's a little bit harder than that, but that's what we're trying to get to.
When it comes to trade rumors, everybody's focused on the expiring contracts, the UFAs, and we know who remains. You've done a lot of work now from where you were a year ago, or I guess even by the draft. Are there any discussions, and I'm not saying that it's you necessarily instigating discussions, but you've had a lot of talks with teams here, obviously, over the last few weeks. Are there players potentially that aren't UFAs on your squad that have been part of trade talks, or that you can envision that there might be some bigger deals, or there could be someone that, aside from the UFAs, that we're not expecting could possibly be in the mix somehow?
Yeah, I'd be, to be honest, I'd be doing a disservice to say when I talk to teams, I'm open to anything. Like, that's what I said. If it makes us better, if it gets us to where we want to go, I wouldn't limit it to, one person or just the UFAs. You have to be open. I mean, that's part of the job, is just to be open to anything. And, are we going to do it? If it makes sense, then, definitely have to take it to the players. And, some people have no trade, but you're always looking to improve your team. So I don't want to say there's no untouchables, but, I definitely haven't shopped them, but you're going to be open to any conversation when you talk to teams. It's only fair. It's my job.
Yeah. Because the picture starts to become clearer. You can speculate, well, if we'd make this deal, or if this player leaves, and then now that Lindholm is out and what you've gotten in return. I wonder if that change, does that start to shift? Okay, well, here's where we are. Well, maybe we do get a little bit younger, or maybe we do go, or there is more emphasis on keeping a veteran or something like that, or is it pretty static? You have a plan, you, Jerome, everybody there, you have your plan, and you stick to it regardless of how the next 5 weeks plays out.
Well, you're always a little bit. I mean, I know everybody. We have a plan. We do. I know people want to know the plan, but it's the players have some decisions in those plans, how they play. Show me you want to. Like I said, it's the culture, wanting to be in Calgary. I think that's the one thing when you're looking at improving. I believe it's exciting. The new arena is an exciting thing for me. That's one of the things that excites me. And I think when I can talk to players and, talk to agents, when they ask me, is there really going to be, and I'm excited that we're going to have a new rink at some time. And I think that's going to be a game changer for us too. I do. But, right now, hopefully as we're building, moving forward, when that new rink's here, everybody's excited and we're headed in the right direction. And like I said, playoffs and hopefully Stanley Cup. That's the goal.
I wanted to ask you about a couple of guys that have returned to form. Oliver Shillington went 20 months without playing. Kudos to you and the organization for allowing the time to get back to this spot. And also Monahan got traded today, and you would have seen that guy go through probably more surgeries than you could count on your hands. You need to probably get to toes. So just a thought on both of those guys and I guess returns to form of sorts.
Well, I mean, obviously with Shilly, it's one of those things. I didn't know how it was going to go. It was a year and a half, and you're kind of thinking, is it ever going to happen? And we just, we were trying to support him the whole time and make sure that he was getting everything he needed that we could do. We didn't want to pressure him with anything or put any undue stress on him. But for him to come back this year and really work as hard as he has, and to see him on the ice, it's pretty special, actually. It's exciting because I didn't know if that day was ever going to happen. And obviously with Monahan, he probably would look back on his time and a couple of those things, he probably should have went and not played the rest of the year and just went and take care of himself. But I give him credit. He's a warrior. He had more injuries that people don't even know about. I thought, should he really be even? But he just always wanted to try to play. He said, I'm a hockey player. I want to play. So to see him get traded today, and I'm happy for him. He's having a great year. He really is. I've been watching. They got him killing penalties too, which is we didn't have him doing that here, but good for him. It's always to the Canadian teams though. We got to get some trades down in the States now.
Well, you mentioned Savvy was in your office. Are you helping him out, or is he pulling his hair out? Like, he clearly is not enjoying how things are operating.
You know what? That's one thing about Savvy. He's every day he's with our guys working, he's trying to figure this out. Not happy. But you know what? Again, he has. I like to sit with Savvy to see what he wants from the guys. But if guys don't execute, I don't care what your plan is. You have to execute. You have to get in the zone. We need guys to make plays. That's what power play people do. They do special things. When you watch a team, up north, hey, they're in motion. They a broken play, they grab a puck, they do what they do, and sometimes you have to do that. And right now, Savvy's trying to put in like a general structure what he would like, but you got to be creative. You gotta get to those hard, dirty areas. It's a tip. It's an ugly goal. It's not pretty. We got to, it was a rebound, went off the guy's foot. Lindy almost missed the shot, but it hit the guy, went in. I mean, that's what you need. But it's a lot of traffic around the net. And sometimes it's got to get ugly before it gets better. And that's just playing simple and hard, and going to those hard areas and get in front of the goalie and out-competing. You got to out-compete the four guys. That's a big thing for me.
A month today, one of the greatest goalies that ever wore Flame Silks, he'll have his number to the rafters. Will Mika actually be there, Craig? Have you confirmed? Have you got flights? He's RSVP'd to his own jersey retirement or not?
Peter Hanlon's telling me he's coming. Until I see Mika in the building or know he landed, I think we have the flights and everything all ready and, stuff all set. It's going to be a great time, though. It's well-deserved. I'm so excited to be here and be a part of it. It's going to be great. I can't wait to see Rhett and all the guys. And you know what? I mean, I think when we look back, I think it's great when teams celebrate their players that have done a good job, and it just says, hey, you have something special in the organization. And to have Mika come back and want to do it is even more special. I don't know how long the speech is going to be, maybe 2 words, but we got noodles coming in, so hopefully, and Rhett can always get up there and talk too.
Oh, he loves it, yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Can't shut up, this guy.
Yeah, try and get a word in edgewise. It's impossible. You know what? Last thing, Jacob Pelche, we mentioned him earlier with the Wranglers. What are you seeing? What are you hearing? Any kind of an expectation as to when he might be in the NHL lineup?
He 2 nights ago, he's tired in the third, but the energy he brought was, he brings that fire and passion. Talked to Don Maloney. I was going to go down there, but with everything that's happened, I ended up staying in Calgary. But he said the pace, skating, everything looked really, really good. So, you know, I would think probably sooner than later he's going to get an opportunity for sure to be back up here.
Yeah, we talked about it a couple weeks ago. We said, wouldn't it be something? This was before Oliver got back in. If you had Shillington, Zari, if Pospisil is healthy,
Pelche.
Coronado, Pelche comes in. Didn't think we'd be talking about Kuzmenko, but it's going to be a very different looking roster to kick off this road trip in Boston, potentially, whenever Pelche gets back in, than what we saw even 2-3 weeks ago. It's exciting for fans, I think. You must be excited as well.
I am excited. You know what? And the one thing I can, you know, I always tell the guys, this is the NHL. It's not a God-given right to play here. You have to earn this. So come and take a job. Show us, hey, I'm an NHL player. Exactly what Zari did. He came in and said, look, I mean, he told me when he gets his chance, when I sent him down, he was not happy with me. I said, hey, okay, go down, play well. I'll call you back up and then show me. And he, you know,
He's done that.
Yeah.
I like it. He's got a little edge, and he was like, you know, I said, great job. You did it. He said, well, you gave me a chance, and I appreciate it. But I just wanted that opportunity to show you, Craig. I said, hey, you did. So I go, but the first part is to get here to have that excitement. Now, you know, I think his game has been in and out a little bit. It's the consistency. You know, Rhett would tell you it's hard every day to play at that high level. And that's the thing. I said, again, as we move forward, we need to keep you way up here. And over the summer, you got to come back and take it to another level. I expect more. Like, I do expect more from these young guys. I don't think, oh, wow, I made the NHL. That's good enough. No, that's not good enough. We got to take it to another level. Then that's the message to all my young guys.
We'll let you go. Appreciate your time. You're always good with your time with us. We do appreciate it. Any calls to make? Any return calls, or is you can go home and have dinner tonight and not worry about the phone too much?
No. You know, it's a busier time now. I think when you make a trade early, it's good for me to learn that if you make one early, all of a sudden people think, oh, it's more urgent. So I do think it'll pick up, but. You know, I'm just going to continue to do what I was doing kind of with Lindholm and see where everything's at, and then it'll kind of go from there.
Nice.
Thanks, Connie.
Hey, buddies. Thanks for watching. Make sure you check out our YouTube channel for more content from Flames Nation. More going up all the time. Best ofs, interviews, and make sure you watch coming up in the next few months. Tons of stuff going in there as well. FlamesNation.ca, game day articles, blogs, news going up all the time. And we're working hard to get some new merchandise out there for you as well. Go to the website, nationgear.ca, to check that out. Thanks, buddies. We appreciate you.